talk about problems. I see solutions. I see hardworking men and women who are ready to rise, children who are ready to learn, entrepreneurs who are ready to innovate, immigrants who are ready to contribute, America's bravest who are ready to defend. I see a great country on the verge of its greatest century, and I'm ready to lead.
And he is Jeb Bush, and welcome to hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show. Of course, it's official today. That's a video that, part of a video that Jeb Bush put out over the weekend. One of a couple of videos. Marco Rubio also with a video. Later in Gimme 5, you'll see some more of Bush's video and also Marco's answer to Hillary, who announced on Saturday. So it's all a confusing mess, but here to sort it all out with us is Stephen Moore, Chief Economist for the Heritage Foundation. Always good to see you, sir.
Hey, Steve. Good to be
all
with you.
right, so Jeb Bush, your take on Jeb Bush.
Well, you know, first of all, the last 3 months have not gone well for Jeb. I mean, he has fallen behind because he's been raising money and other candidates have been going out and touching and feeling voters and conservatives. And so this, for Jeb's benefit, really has to help propel him out of the starting gate because it's been a really tough period for him. Now, here's what I'll say about Jeb Bush. He was an outstanding governor of the state of Florida. He was governor for 2 terms, cut taxes, created jobs, balanced the budget, did some real education reform. So if you're a conservative, his record as governor was quite impressive. He's been out of it, though, Steve, for 10 years. And I think that shows a little bit in terms of his... Think about it this way: the whole Tea Party movement kind of passed him by. He wasn't in office when all that happened.
Yeah,
and he has a problem sort of speaking their language.
Absolutely, you know? And plus, you know, his stance on immigration, his stance on Common Core, and some other issues have already. I think there's 25 or 27%. I saw in today's Fox News poll of Republicans who said they just would not vote for Jeb Bush.
Well, that may be true, but, you know, he can win with 75%.
Oh, no,
absolutely,
you know, absolutely.
And look, I think Jeb is going to be, I think there are, 4 or 5 people can win this race, and Jeb Bush is clearly one of them. I don't think he was the massive front runner that he was, 4 months ago. I think he's going to have to fight for this, and he's not going to be able to buy this, he's not going to be able to acquire this nomination.
Which a lot of people thought he would
exactly.
be. Exactly. He'd outraise and outspend
Exactly.
everybody. Yeah. All right, let me ask you, I don't want to throw you a curve here. Donald Trump. Tomorrow, or supposedly is the big announcement. I mean, if he announces he's going to have to get out of television, I guess eventually he'll have to make his finances public, and that's always been 2 of the drawbacks that people said he would never do. But assuming the announcement is that he's running and not some, show, that he's going to say something else, any realistic chance he could win?
Probably not, but is there a realistic chance he could do better than people are expecting? Certainly. I mean, don't discount celebrity status in America. I mean, that's worth a lot, and everyone in America knows who Donald Trump is. I bet, half the people don't know who Marco Rubio is or Scott Walker.
Absolutely.
So that's worth a lot.
So,
but the real question is, what does this man stand for? What are his principles? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, he's a great self-promoter, but I'm not convinced that he is someone who has the kind of conservative values. But I'm open-minded to hearing what he has to say.
Name recognition. He wouldn't be financially beholden to anyone, you would think, because of his wealth. He seems unafraid in facing the media, facing Democratic candidates, saying whatever he wants to say. He doesn't hold back. I mean, that could cut either way.
It could, and I think that's going to be a little bit refreshing to voters, that he's going to say outrageous things that are kind of politically
But he doesn't
correct.
yell at people that come off like a Christie, like a bully. He just says what he thinks.
He does, and so. Yeah, look, I think he will be a realistic contender in this race. I don't think he can win, but I think he's going to add some drama to this and make it a lot more fun.
Hillary, she announced on Saturday in the blazing heat, wearing that, and I'm bringing up the pantsuit because she made her speech all about my hair, and I'm going to color my hair, and I won't turn gray, and I'm a woman, and I'm a grandmother, and so you know what? If that's what she's running on and announcing on, then I'm saying stop with the pantsuit up to here with the long sleeves, and you look like you're sweating.
Yeah.
I mean, dress like it's spring out.
Well, the gender card is going to be a huge aspect of her race. She's playing it to the end, and look, she said, I'm going to be the first her line
won't
today
be the
was,
youngest. I'm not the
yeah,
youngest candidate. I'll be the youngest woman.
Yeah, and then
ever
she
to be
said,
president.
I'm not the first female candidate for president. I'm the first, grandmother candidate.
Yeah.
Those are cute lines. They humanize her. But the other thing that she did this week was she gave somewhat inflammatory speech as a conservative, slamming rich people, saying, it was pure, in my opinion, income redistribution.
Yep.
We're gonna go after the successful. We're gonna help the struggling. And what I was thinking was, and I wrote a column on this today, how is this at all different from Barack Obama's rhetoric? And if you compare what she's saying with what Barack Obama has said for the last 6 years, there's not much distinction there. And I think that's a problem for her because I don't think the American people want a third Obama
when
term.
it comes to the populist rhetoric, is that what you're talking
Yes, exactly. Her rhetoric is purely out of Obama. It's go after the rich, topple the rich, you didn't create that. All of that stuff is, and then the policies too, raise the minimum wage, more infrastructure spending, tax the rich greater.
So where most people, and you and I have discussed, have said she'd have to separate herself from Obama's economic policies to a great extent because they haven't succeeded. She's not doing it. Yeah.
And that's my point is that, under Obama, everything has been income redistribution, and guess what? We've got more income inequality today than when he entered office.
And you wrote a great piece at the Washington Times, The Young and the Investment List, which I think is a great title, whether you came up with it or not. And a recent polling shows a majority of Americans think it'll be difficult for this generation of millennials to achieve the American dream and climb up the ladder.
That's so distressing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the way, I think that's a little overly pessimistic. I mean, I actually think if we got some policy changes, we could see a big boom. And I think, look, there have always been concerns about the American dream being lost. But what's interesting is young people are not investing in the market. And that's a problem because if you start, for young people watching the show, if you're between the ages of 20 and 35 and you start investing a little bit, saving a little bit each paycheck, even if it's maybe $100 a paycheck, and you let the power of compound interest, which is Albert Einstein says the most powerful force in the universe, you're going to be a millionaire when you retire. So it's really distressing that so many people between 20 and 35, I think the number was something like less than 15% of these people are investors.
But there's another bad sign that you alluded to in right at the beginning that
they're
the
not
first
working.
is that fewer people between 18 and 24 are working. And that's got to change.
So you save you combine these two things. They're not working and they're not investing. The future ahead of them is much dimmer if they do neither of those things. If you're 21 years old and you're not working, that's a big problem because when are you going to join the workforce?
And you're living at home,
and by the way, the statistics show that a record number of young people between the ages of 18 and 25 are also living at home, and I know that because I got one.
Yeah. Okay, well that's not a good thing. You've perhaps more than most, definitely more than most, have studied the economic policies of the various candidates who are running and who may be running. I mean, who do you say, wow,
well,
I like this
I'm
guy?
biased because I've been doing some work with Rand Paul.
Right.
But I'll give you a little heads up. On Thursday, a little scoop for Newsmax. He's going to come out with his flat tax plan.
Rand Paul.
And this thing is going to be really exciting. It's got really low rates. It clears out all the pollution in the tax system. And Rand calls this the biggest reform to the income tax system since 1916. So, I think that's going to, when you talk about who's bold, that's going to be the standard by which all other
So is it going to be like what Steve Forbes used to talk about? You get your postcard, 10%,
something
whatever.
like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Really simple, really fair because everybody pays the same rate. If you make 10 times more than I do, you pay 10 times more tax. Gets rid of a lot of the special interest provisions and loopholes in the code. So that's all pretty cool stuff. I'll be interested to see, by the way, that what Jeb Bush has to say. Circling back to where we started.
Right.
Jeb hasn't really put out firm policy positions yet, and that's going to be critical to him, to his success. And when I met with him, he said, "I'm a supply sider, Steve. I want to cut rates." Well, I want to see it. I want to see the plan.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for the scoop.
All right, Steve.
Always good to see you.
Too.
Appreciate it.
Have a
the
great
one
week.
and only Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Heritage.org is the website for the Great Heritage Foundation. All right. Up next, Cliff May will be here, but first, I want you to make sure to vote in Newsmax's latest poll, and the question is, quite simply, which Republican candidate do you support? Log on to newsmax.com/polls. Once again, that's newsmax.com/polls. It's very easy. And let us know which Republican presidential candidate you support for 2016. And of course, it could be any of the ones that are out there, and you'll just let us know, and we'll give you the results as soon as we can. That's newsmax.com/polls. We want to hear from you.